Haggie's defense on the perimeter? You guys were hitting a lot of threes in the first half, and then it seemed to struggle from the outside in the second half.
I wouldn't say they made any adjustments. They did get a good job of keeping us out the paint. I think we was trying to force a little bit too much. And then towards the end of the second half, when we started moving, I think we made in like 3 or 4 threes. So they had a really good defense though, and they're a really good team.
How much did you feel like y'all were able to kind of dictate the pace in the first half, and maybe they were able to kind of slow it down? Did that affect the way y'all wanted to play a little bit?
I think we had a lot of turnovers to open up the second half, and they were able to capitalize off those. And then offensively for them, they did a lot of slow sets, and then got a lot of second chance points, which made their possessions a little bit longer than ours. But they did a good job. They did a good job of executing their game plan. We obviously tried to stop them on the glass, and they was able to just dominate us, honestly. So again, they're a really good team, and they showed it today.
But playing in a full Moody, I know there were quite a few A&M fans, but the SMU students seem to be making some noise during some runs early.
It felt good. Seeing Moody packed like that, just kind of unfortunate that we couldn't bring home the win for the fans. But hopefully, I mean, we're gonna see passes, but I hope to bring the fans out again so we could get the dub.
Yeah, they definitely did a good job of helping us. That's probably the loudest we've seen Moody filled up in our careers, so that was definitely exciting. It was a big time game, and they definitely brought the noise.
Can you talk a little about the physicality of the game?
Well, we knew coming in they were a tough team. They like to get physical. They like to muddy up the game, and we knew what to expect. So what they did was just show who they were and what kind of team they were. It was nothing we weren't expecting, but it was they definitely hit us with a first punch. Then we had to wake up from that.
Obviously, it was an increased level of competition. You didn't get the result you wanted, but you kept it to about a dozen. What do you take from this game that you can build on going forward?
Well, it not being a blowout was not what we was hoping for. We expect to win every game, but we'll definitely learn from this. And we got another game coming up Monday in Florida, so we're gonna put this past us, watch the film tomorrow, learn from it, and we're on to the next game.
Tyreek, being from Baton Rouge, did you know Tyrese at all before, Tyrese Radford, or just in the AAU circuit or anything?
That's actually my cousin.
It was really.
Yeah.
What was it like going up against him?
It was crazy, man, because, growing up from the same neighborhood, like brothers, and just us being able to play on such a big stage, coming from where we come from, is big time, and it was really fun playing with him on the court.
How have you seen his game develop to where he is now?
It's crazy. He wasn't always a good shooter, and he proved that he is tonight. So it was good seeing his game still evolving.
Any other questions?
Just what makes it so tough to rebound against?
I mean, they probably had a scouting report because I'm pretty good on the glass, so I felt that early. I felt like I had like 2 bodies on me the whole time, so I really couldn't get into my groove. So just playing against that is hard. You just got to find ways to, get your boards. It's just hard, though, when they game plan it like that.
Yeah, and hats off to Coach. Coach has created a culture over there, the same that he had over Virginia Tech. It's just tough-nosed basketball, and he brought that over to this program, and that's what they're about. So.
And then just for you guys going on the road for the first time in the regular season, just what do you expect from playing a little bit of a tournament-style thing down in Florida before the Thanksgiving break?
I think you can expect from this team is we're always going to compete. We're always going to go out there and expect to win. So. Especially coming off a loss like this where we felt like we were in the game the whole time, we're definitely going to come out there and try to come home with some victories.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Start by saying, I said this earlier, I think Texas A&M is one of the, in today's game, the way the game is now, where guys don't stay in college, they're one of the best that college basketball has to offer in terms of toughness, and we're trying to build a program and build some toughness, and they definitely embody that, and it was a great challenge for us. It felt like win or lose, we were going to learn a lot about ourselves, and I thought we fought. I made a bad decision going into the half on on what we were running, and we went too early and didn't get the last shot, and they wind up getting a 3 to go into halftime. So instead of being down by 1 or 2, we wound up down by 7. And so that was definitely on me. But we rallied back in the second half. We got it to 4, and then they turned it up defensively, and we didn't have a good enough response offensively. If you look at the numbers, I think defensively we did a decent enough job that had we played better on offense, we would have given ourselves a little bit more of a chance. They got to the free throw line, and their best players played. You know, Wade probably played below his standard, but relative to what they needed to get done, he was present. And so credit to their team. I do think we will get better. This is our first time losing together, and even that feels different. And so I'm encouraged about when we actually line back up on Friday. I expect us to really learn from this and break it down and get better.
Chuck, it seemed like every time you guys needed a spark, Chuck provided that. Just how big was he tonight? He's kind of been building towards that through the first few games. So for him to kind of take over at some points.
Yeah, he's got a track record, and I think as we go, him, Sam, Zurich, these guys are really high-level players, and we got to get them all playing at a high level. That's my job, and so I got to get Sam playing the way he's capable of. I think he's in his head a little bit. He cares so much. He works so hard, and I love him to death. And he and I, we're going to get better. Same thing with Z. He's tough on himself, and now Chuck there, and Jalen, and BJ is his first time with the lights on a little bit. But that's good. That's good experience for him. And, Reek had a game, subpar for him. I think he had 4 rebounds. And I think Keon, he had, if I'm seeing this right, Keon had 2 rebounds. So, we got to get our guys that are capable of being productive to be more productive. And but this was good. This is good. I think there's a lot of information that we'll take from this and use it the right way.
Coach, you guys had some success with 3, especially in the first half, and then kind of for the first part of the second half, you guys moved away from it. Was that more what you were getting from A&M, or is that more of an adjustment that you guys made?
Well, we didn't adjust away from making threes. I'm not that smart, but I ain't that smart, but I ain't that stupid. I think you got to give them some credit, but I think the ball stopped moving, and their defensive approach is somewhat disruptive, and you can get sucked into getting the ball stuck. Their approach lends itself to that, and we were well prepared for that strategically, scouting-wise. I mean, Coach Kreider does a great job, and we were prepared. We knew what we were going to see, but trying to simulate it and coming out and really playing against a team that won 25 games and has got most of those guys back. You got to do it in real time, and they tightened up when they needed to. We gave up 17 offensive rebounds. We told them they were going to come to the glass and that the guards were going to have to rebound, but in the game, we didn't quite do it. And so those are the kind of lessons that have come out of it.
Chuck Harris sounded a little bit like you, saying that staying within 13 points of a nationally ranked team wasn't what you guys had in mind, but you did play well in spurts against a nationally ranked team. What did you like most about your team that you can build on going forward?
I won't know that until Friday when we get back in practice. The aftermath of the disappointment, what that does to this group as opposed to this time last year. I never felt, and I've said this to guys, like I do feel like I'm coaching basketball. You always got to coach your culture. You always got to coach human beings, and you got to go through the grind of a season. But I think there's a connectivity that we really have here that is some growth, but we hadn't lost before, and so we did some things that I liked defensively. We were locked in. I thought our offense not being great, that eventually we were going to have some breakdowns. But for them, as good as they are to shoot 37% and 28% from three, that's good enough to win a game. But you can't have 16 turnovers, and 13 of those came from BJ, Zurich, Chuck, and Jalen. 13 of our 16 turnovers, and that's an area that we take some pride in. And some of them were just at inopportune times and silly turnovers that we've got to prevent.
What were you seeing from Tyreek Bradford when he ran A&M? Did he live up to the things you guys have been watching, and what was he doing in class problem?
Yeah, I mean, these guys have been in college for a while. Like when he was at Virginia Tech, he had a year where he shot over like 117 threes and shot 40%. But he's such a good driver that we're playing him for the drive, and he makes 4 threes in the first half. Like, that's a good player on the road, stepping up and playing. Like he hadn't been shooting it like that. But they needed that from him. Wade wasn't making shots, and lo and behold, this guy steps up. So what I think both of those guys have the ability to do, when they're well schemed against or even well guarded, they can still make plays at critical times. Good veteran players.
You talked about getting the most out of your veteran players, and you mentioned Sam and Zurich. And tonight, between the two of them, they go 4 for 21. And in your eyes, was this just one of those nights where their shots weren't falling, or was there something in the way A&M defended those two that got them difficult looks?
Well, I think I certainly give some credit to A&M. They're a really good defensive team, tough, disciplined, and they don't dip very much. The way they start the game is pretty much what you can expect to see throughout the game. That is toughness. It's not just how Coleman looks. It's the capacity that they have to sustain a level of effort for 40 minutes, and we're getting there with some of that. And I felt like there would be some rough patches offensively, and I thought the only way we could combat that is for us to create some rough patches for them offensively as well, to try to level that playing field until we caught a rhythm, and we never quite got that rhythm.
I know you did the overseas trip, but this will be the first time on the road in the regular season when you go down to Florida. Just kind of what do you expect from this group going down there, playing that tournament style, just a little bit like what you did last week with some quick turnaround games?
I expect them to fight. I do. I really believe that in this group, and that's why I'm saying we'll be off tomorrow. We'll watch the film, and then we'll do some individual work and some light work on Thursday, and then we'll have Friday, Saturday, Sunday to go live in preparation for Monday. Travel on Saturday, I believe. So I think when we get on the court on Friday, like I said, we'll find out. But I expect us to learn from what we look at tomorrow and Thursday, and get right back into the fight on Friday, and bring that to the tournament on Monday.
And do you have any update on Denver and his availability in the future?
He's gonna be able to practice this week in half court. I don't anticipate having him for the tournament, but if he can get some practices in and then follow that up with some practices upon our return, then we would assess it from there.
Coach, I know it's early with him. What does he bring value-wise? It seems like he might be one of your better shooters and shot makers. What does he add when he's at his best?
Yeah, you do think his shot's going in. He's got quick release. But he is he's an unbelievable high character team guy. On his worst days, he's got the loudest voice in the gym, and he's saying the right stuff, and it's not contrived. Reminds me a little bit of Grant Williams, what it was like being around Grant Williams all the time. I'm not saying he's Grant Williams as a player, but the character piece and the team orientation is critical, and his voice is important in our gym. And you can still hear it when he's out, but I do think he adds to the energy and the fight when he's in. So we look forward to having him back on the floor, the practice floor at least.
Coach Coleman's, he's a pretty big guy. Coach Williams kind of prides himself in the fact that he's got a rebound coordinator to kind of craft him. So he's a good measuring stick for your inside guys.
Yep.
How did they look tonight going up against him?
Well, I mean, Coleman definitely distinguished himself on the floor tonight. Credit to him. I mean, he's tough and he really understands their scheme. He's been there a couple years now, and you know, he's a heck of a player. And you know, I think what I like about Tyreek and Keon, you know, Keon is in the locker room like emotional. I really think he felt like we were going to win every game this year. You know, just that's the kind of spirit the young man has. That's why he's starting. He brings that sort of spirit every day. But there's a consistency that you got to try to reach as a player. And, you know, you look at Keon, for example, he didn't play pretty much at all at Alabama. Played 14 minutes a game for us last year, but now he's a starter. And he's been tremendous. But he got a big role now. And now he's got to come out and bring it every day. And Tyreek's got a bigger role than he's ever had as a college player here right now. And he's been pretty good, and he's been good on the practice floor. So I think those guys will grow as the year goes on and develop that consistency we need from them.
Coach, can you talk a little bit about how special Grant Williams was like? What was it like coaching him? What makes him so special defensively?
Well, I didn't think he was good defensively when I was coaching him. So he's doing way more in the NBA than I think any of us anticipated. But it's a credit to him. He's a special human being. You know, he's like family to the Laniers. And you know, when I was first around him as a freshman, I wasn't sure if this guy was for real. I thought it was an act. Like, there's no way anybody could be this consistently nice to people and be a great competitor. And he was all of that all of the time. And the fact that he's here in Dallas is great for me and my family because we truly love him. And I could tell you all kind of stories about how special of a person he is. He's a real winner, and he's the epitome of leadership and consistency, and I think he'll bring that to the Mavericks too.
At what point did you know he was going to be playing at the next level?
When he was a freshman. Yeah, I saw him in high school against Bam Adebayo. Then I saw him as a freshman against everybody, and the same stuff that he was doing in high school came easy to him. It didn't matter who was in front of him. And I think we kind of had a sense for it before even NBA scouts did because he didn't have the measurables and he doesn't fit the prototype. But I told people when he was a junior that you're going to watch playoff games and he's going to be out there playing. And I hate to say I told you so, but I told you so, whoever's listening.
Coach Williams talked a lot about you guys getting to the paint, your ball screens, your pace of play and transition. I'm curious, when you add the 10 threes that you made tonight, plus the ability to get to the paint and offensive rebound, how does that encourage you as your full offensive package? You kind of see these glimpses at some point. I'm sure you want to see it all together, but what does that look like for you?
Yeah, I think the big thing is they do such a good job with their switching, and there's more people doing that in college basketball than ever. Switching, you know, you see it against Memphis, we'll see it against Florida State. It's one of the reasons why we wanted to play this game, because we're going to see that stuff. We do it a little bit, but we're not practicing against it as much every day. And so it was disruptive for us, and we need to learn how to play through some of that stuff. So we got down the lane, but the way they play keeps you out of transition unless you can really get some stops and some breakouts. And we were going to need our defense to create some offense for us. And not so much because they don't turn it over a whole lot. They don't take a lot of bad shots, and they get so many offensive rebounds that you can't leak out, you know, because you're fighting for every ball. So I think they did a good job of inhibiting us because we really want to run, we want to score, we want to play faster, but they definitely curtailed some of that stuff.
Coach, one more question about Grant. Have you gotten to watch any of the Mavs game this season? How do you feel like he fits next to Luka and Kyrie?
I have not seen a game. I've gone to a practice, and he was talking like he always talks. He never shuts up, and I'm sure they're going to endure all of his talking there, but his presence was definitely felt for sure.
Thank you. Thank you, Coach.